Hello and welcome to the magical world of the Pensieve. In my very first official video, I explained that the massive complaints about the time turner were incorrect in assuming it caused a time paradox by using it, or a plot hole by not using it. If you'd like to see it, click here. So while there isn't a huge paradox with the time turner, I actually found a small inconsistency in the story that could be called nothing else but a paradox. However, it's pretty debatable and its impact is pretty minuscule, so it's easy to overlook. And of course, I'm mostly human, so I'm mostly capable of making mistakes. If you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. If you've seen the Terminator movies, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, or the Mummy animated series episode 10, you'll have seen this paradox before. Most commonly referred to as a bootstrap paradox, less commonly referred to as an ontological paradox, this is one in which time travel makes it so that a person, item, or information has no point of origin. The best way to describe this paradox is with examples. This is Alan. He's sitting at home, suddenly a ball of light appears and a man steps out. He is Alan from 20 years in the future. Future Alan gives our Alan some blueprints and says, "This is the way to build a time machine. Use it well." Future Alan returns to the future, and our Alan spends the next 20 years trying to build this machine and perfects it. He makes a copy of the blueprints and uses the time machine. He steps out of the ball of light created by it and gives his past self the blueprints saying, "This is the way to build a time machine. Use it well." Notice the problem with that story? Alan was given the blueprints by himself, who got it from himself. So who invented the time machine? The blueprints for the time machine have no origin at all. It's almost as if they were created by time travel itself. So how does this relate to Harry Potter time travel? It's not like the Marauders map was made this way or anything. No, what's created in the bootstrap paradox here is much less tangible. Remember in the movie how Harry says, "I saw myself conjuring the Patronus before. I knew I could do it this time because, well, I'd already done it. Does that make sense?" No! Well, I'd say Hermione's right in this one because it doesn't make sense. It's a bootstrap paradox. Harry didn't know that he was able to create a corporeal Patronus until he knew that it was himself that had done it in the past. In essence, the information that Harry could produce a Patronus was passed from his future self to his past self. And then he was the one to pass it to his own past self. But this is where the debate comes in. Physical items having no point of origin are definitely a paradox. Information like blueprints are pretty much a paradox. But this is even less than how to do a Patronus. The information that has no point of origin is Harry can do a Patronus. But Harry could technically always do a Patronus. He just didn't believe in himself enough or didn't have the right circumstances to push him to it yet or whatever it might be. That's why I've seen the argument that it was more of a coincidence than a paradox. Even so, just because he could do it, and still might have done it even without the bootstrap knowledge, doesn't mean he did do it without the knowledge. If Harry himself admits that he only thought he could do it because his past self already did, then that is still a paradox, not a coincidence. Is it a major paradox? No, but it is one nonetheless. Because this is a minor plot hole, and because the majority of the time turner made sense in Prisoner of Azkaban, Rowling had almost been able to keep the time turner as logically sound as it could have been. However, since the release of Pottermore, that's more or less gone down the drain. Pottermore has excerpts from Rowling herself, so it could be taken as canon. This is now more debatable though, as the site was remodeled from head to toe and all of the new information provided was pretty much removed. Before it was removed, Rowling describes that the time turner was given a limit of power because of the way wizards mistreated and experimented with it. When they were experimenting, weird things kept happening, like people being unborn, some days being 4 hours long, some days lasting 3 days. More than anything, this is just witty writing and notably has Rowling's sense of humor. But since it's still presented as factual evidence, it's pretty difficult to just ignore it when applying to the rules of time travel. How could days shorten or lengthen in time if humans don't have the ability to do that, regardless of whether or not they went back in time? Humans being unborn shouldn't be noticed because they never would have existed. Perhaps traveling so far back in time causes instability in time itself. This isn't entirely out of the question, as time is known to be affected by physical phenomena like gravity. Maybe it dilates at weird proportions when correcting itself, causing days to differ in length. Maybe when changes are made, they split timelines, but timelines can sometimes merge together, creating instances where a person can remember a person from another timeline even if they don't exist in the current timeline. It's a huge complication in the logic of the time turner. What a shame, after we almost figured it out too. Honestly, a big part of me believes that Rowling didn't thoroughly study time travel before introducing it into the Harry Potter series. I think that even Rowling didn't realize that a causal loop of the time turner was pretty much paradox-free. She might have even thought that Harry could have gone back in time to stop Voldemort if she hadn't destroyed them in Order of the Phoenix. She's stated in interviews that she regrets putting time travel in, so it sounds like she thought it was a paradox. That, combined with the fact that she kept adding inconsistencies to the time turner logic in Pottermore, it seems she just didn't think it was worth looking into in as much depth as an excessive nerd like me would. So, with this new information come to light, it looks like we won't be able to put the time turner to a complete rest, unless we somehow get more examples that give us clues to the physical laws it uses. In all, I don't blame anyone for not taking the Pottermore description as factual evidence, and I don't blame people who do and call it a huge plot hole. We will probably never know how accurate these time travel laws are until it's made. Or until it was made. If you're into this thought-provoking discussion about the rules of the Harry Potter universe, there's more to come. Subscribe if you'd like to see more, and if you think I was wrong about the time travel series and want to give me what for, or if you agree with what I'm blabbering about, let me know in the comments. And of course, thanks for watching. Knox. By the way, if you want to keep up with what I'm doing, you can always follow me at @ThePensivehP on Twitter. I update there like all the time. I'm hoping to get my Fantastic Beasts review done as soon as possible, so keep an eye out for that.